Well, you're right on time, huh? I can't hear you. Is your volume on, or is mine something wrong with mine?
No, mine was on mute for a minute. Can you hear me
Huh?
now?
I can hear you now.
I said, you
You thought-
talking to me? Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to you, Tina.
I'm
I
on
thought I
time.
was. I thought I let someone in. Oh, she's hiding right now. Oh, okay. No, I thought no. It's fine. It's perfect. I'm
Oh,
doing my little. I'm still getting ready, but I'm ready. We're okay. We're okay. So take a break, rest yourself, and we'll be with you.
okay.
Okay,
I'm here.
that's great, and I thank you for that. So you can't see me, Tina. What do you see on my screen?
I see a soldier guy with a red hat. It says shopping, wait, April 2025, shopping
Okay,
Black Chicago.
that's Marcus Garvey. Okay, got you, got you. So we're gonna give people time to come in.
Okay. I'm just going to go get a tissue because my nose is running right now. I'll be
Okay,
back.
okay. I'm setting us up live, and we're gonna go live on Facebook, and we're gonna have a great evening. We're going to have a great evening. Two of our panelists are already here, and we're going live. Isn't that great? That's wonderful, wonderful. So we have some more guests coming in. Cy Smith in the house. And Angela Jones is here. Let me see who else is here.
Cy Smith is here.
Cy Smith in the house. How you doing, Cy?
Every day grateful. Every day grateful.
Wonderful, wonderful. Out there working hard for us. Vicky O is in the house. Miss Jones is here. She's on mute right now. Everybody's sitting back. So we're gonna give it to like, let me see what time it is. We're gonna give it like 5 more minutes. Oh, we just on 6 o'clock right now.
You
Oh,
on the dot.
we're on the dot. We're gonna get like, Jacqueline. How you doing, Jacqueline? Wonderful. I saw your wife sign up today. Sigh.
Well, actually, I'm gonna be on her computer at the 7 o'clock time, so I did that.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I don't.
Mm.
So you trying to get out of here and go do another show? Is that what you're trying to do?
Well, every day for since Zoom been in existence, 7 o'clock has been our bread and butter.
Hmm.
Yeah, 7 o'clock been the time when we was doing conference calls before Zoom. So that's how old 7 o'clock been for us.
I'm gonna try and get to you before 7 o'clock. Side.
No. I'm just switching over to a different computer. That's all. Because my 7 o'clock people will be running it off my Zoom account.
Well, you do what you do, because I'm
Mhm.
confused now. Miss Jones, how are you? Yeah.
Great evening, everybody. I'm doing well. Super excited to be talking about some sales today.
Okay.
Excellent.
For my
Super
10
excited.
minutes. We got 10 minutes in and out.
Well, you got 10 minutes, but I hope people have some questions for you. So we're gonna talk longer than that. We schedule to 8, and we go to 8. You know, in the past, it just be going, and that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. I want to see. That's what I want to see.
If I remember, this is the first time I'm on the panel, but I've been a guest, and I've participated and asked questions from other Ask the Expert. And personally, if I had time, I would not miss one of these, because it was almost like a group session, not only helping me with improving my professionalism, but it was also speaking with real people with real problems and real solutions. So it was almost like therapy. I left refreshed twice. I hope this is the third time. I'm going to be learning. I'm excited too when Angelesha. Angelesha.
Yes.
When I heard you said you were excited, I'm excited as well. I'm so excited because I know what I received from the panelist, and I hope to give back. So this is my way of giving back.
That's wonderful.
Thank you, Sonia, for the opportunity.
That's a wonderful testimony. And I want to step away for 30 seconds. Well, I'm excited too. I don't know. Maybe it is sinus. I'm always having some kind of sinus, or maybe it's sinus season. I don't know what it is. Something in the fall and something in the spring, and something's always happening. Ron Carter's in the house.
You got Ron Carter out there wherever he was at.
Well, I'm so surprised. I made him the last panelist because I say he's not gonna show up. He be tomorrow. You know what? Was it a Zoom yesterday or sometime? So I wasn't even expecting him. So I'm gonna tell you, and I'm excited, and I'll talk about it right now. Everybody knows who I am. Almost everybody here. For this particular one, we had 21 people register. I didn't put as much effort in. I did have 55 people register once. And I had different numbers. So it's all about the effort that you put in. Isn't everything, though. But the people, what makes this particular one different, except for Angelesha, I know everybody on this Zoom. I know Tina, know you, I know Ron, I know Deveda. And I've known Tina a long time. Her son, Max, was going to high school when I met Tina. And he made 40 years old this year. So I've known Tina a long time. Don't time go. It's just so strange, So everyone on this Zoom, I know basically. But the other ones, I did not know. I didn't know those people, So we're going to get to know Angelesha today.
Yes.
But we have some common people that we know, and I'm going to let you talk about that too. Entrepreneurs Academy.
Yes.
We have something in common there, okay?
Yes.
I put our experts' names and everything in the chat room. I hope you see it. I want you, the people here who have businesses, or I want you to put your contact information in there. I want the panelists to put their contact information in there. Since we're building up right now, I want everyone to have your information. But I'm going to say, just like Tina said, from all of the sessions, they were all different people from all different industries. And that's the way I want it. Had a conversation with Ron Carter today. I don't know if he's listening to where he is in here. But I had a conversation with him. today, why you got these people from all different kind of people? And I told Ron Connor, I said, well, you like to sit in the room and talk to the same people all the time. You've been talking to the same people for 70 years. You know, you get in some other rooms. And that is really the basis for this. And I'll talk about that in a minute. I just want to see if we let a few more people go. It's 6:07, 6:10, I'm going to start. So everybody, the panelists and everyone, you can put your information in. Everybody here, I would love for us to see your video so that we look like a nice little group when we start. Okay. Morgan Park Block Club. Okay. Cy Smith, you hear that? Okay.
Yes.
All right. You familiar with them? Yes.
No.
No? Cy, I almost know everybody. But
No.
almost. Well, great. See, we already made a connection. National Black Club University and what is it? Morgan Park Block Club? All right. So I already did my job. Okay.
Excellent. Yes, you did.
Now Ron Carter got a video on here, but no microphone. You know he's something else, ain't he?
You gotta love Ryan RC.
I'm looking right at him. I see a video, but no microphone. So I don't know what we expect from him today. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. Okay, let me see.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, Mr. Carter.
I can hear you.
I'm alive. I'm alive.
What's up, honey? And you say, hey, this is me.
And then he got all this noise going on in the back. Oh, that might be Sat. I don't know who that is, but anyway. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. Let me see. What time is 6:09? Great. Let me get my notes here. Take a sip of coffee and get my notes. So everybody's posting their information? Yes. But when I send out the thank you, I will include all your contact information. When I send out all the information to the attendees, I send out a thank you a week after. So I will include your contact information.
How are you, Miss Sonia? Long time no see. Oh,
hi, it's so good to see you. I almost see you. When we open up, I want everybody have their video off. I'll be hiding back there. It's good to hear from you. This is being recorded, as you know. And mainstreaming on Facebook. Okay, let me get my notes here.
I haven't figured out how to stop making my my background jump around, but anyway, I'm here.
I see what's going on. I see what's going on. One day you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
One
Sorry.
day, I'm telling you, it's something else. But you know, we've been Zooming really heavy for a couple of years. So welcome to our Ask an Expert virtual event for October 15th, 2025, sponsored by Shopping Black Chicago, where Chicago shops first, a division of Chicago's Black Business Network. To learn more, visit shoppingblackchicago.com. I'm Sonia Cassandra Purdue, your host for this evening. Usually Kevin Young is doing my host job for me, but he had a class tonight. He's the drone instructor for Entrepreneurs Academy, but he had a class tonight. Sometimes we just can't get to everything. We want to thank each of you for taking the time to join us this evening. It's important to me that you took the time to be here, not because of me, not because of the experts, but because you felt the information that we will share tonight may be of value to you. and that you may learn something from these panelists or from attendee. Attendee could ask the question that maybe you wasn't thinking of, and maybe you want to know the answer to that. And because each of you will be given an opportunity to tell us a little bit about your business and about yourself, we're going to all learn something, so stay around. Opportunity is everywhere if you show up in the right places. What you should be expecting this evening: to engage with industry specialists, to walk away with new information and ideas, to leave with answers to your questions, and just have some real talk and solutions and some laid back conversation. I am here to learn. I'm here to learn. Everyone is here from different industries, different backgrounds, which is how we planned it. Being in a room with diverse backgrounds can trigger a whole range of positive responses and present a variety of opportunities that may have never crossed your mind. So we definitely want to invite you to ask questions. And that's what it's all about: asking questions. Learning a different perspective is healthy for us. We get caught up in ourselves and our own opinions, and you know that's the truth. So sit back, relax, and be open to some new ideas. I had this discussion with Ron Carter today um, about why we have all these different people. I got to let someone in. Why we have all these different industries, and I just pretty much hope I explained that. That's why, so that people can learn from other people that they do not know. And basically, everyone on here knows everyone except for Tina and Angelesha. So they're going to bring in some different perspective, perspectives. Okay. Now, I used the example today when I was talking to Ron. I went into a group on LinkedIn, and I'm really doing more on LinkedIn than I have. You know, I have like 3,700 connections over there, and I really should have like 20,000. But I've been over there on Facebook acting crazy. So I'm coming back to LinkedIn and do some other things, okay, over there. So that I can meet some different kind of people. Okay. And I went into a group, which is a medical group, kind of techie medical, went over there and joined it because I was posting something for a client. And I clicked on this one post, and it was talking about, I've done a lot of things, but I've never been in the medical field. And it was talking about how they can take skin cells and connect the skin cells to AI. And the skin cells start to develop neurons, which are the ones like we have in our brain. And the skin cells start to learn and start to create a brain, something similar to a brain. And I'm like, that is too deep. Now, this is from skin, off your skin. And so that was an example I used of why we should be in different rooms. Hello, Patrice. I didn't greet you. I greeted everyone else. How are you today? That was the example I used as to why we should be in different rooms with different people to get different perspectives. So let's get right on into it. Our first panelist is going to be Angelesha. You're coming up first. Angelesha is going to be our first panelist. She's the founder and CEO of Angel Management, Golden Angel Management. All kind of things are going on over here. And I posted a question that Angela gave me to post. Do you have the proper sales skills and systems? Not only sales skills, but systems in place in your business to generate a 7-figure revenue? Ask an expert. That's what she does. Be sure to share your business information in the chat room, and be sure to listen so that you can ask her those questions about how to generate their revenue. Angelesha, I'm going to turn the floor over to you. Thank you for being with us.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited. Of course, as Miss Sonia said, many of you don't know me, but I love, love, love all things sales and marketing. And I've been working with business owners since 2015 with Golden Angel Management. And I know I only have 10 minutes, so I won't take all of everybody's time to go over, but please bear with me because I love to talk. So I do want to make sure that this is an engaging session with me. So you all are going to have to engage because I want to know who I'm speaking to. So if you are a business owner already and you have launched your business and you're generating revenue from offering your product or your service, and it's just you have no employees, put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if that's you. You said, I'm a business owner. I launched my business. I'm doing my thing, but it's just me right now. Now, if you are a business owner and you've launched the business and you have a team, but you have less than 10 people on your team, put a 2 in the chat. You like, I've done it. I've built the team, but I don't have a big team. I have 10 or less. Then if you have more than 10, put a 3 in the chat. I just want to know where we all are in the room. Okay, so let me see who I'm speaking to so I can adjust how we're going to approach sales today. So I see a 1, I see a 2, I see 2 people have put things in the chat, but we have 11 people in the room. So that means somebody got some of y'all ain't answering the questions. Okay, now I'm seeing more numbers. Okay. All right, now I see. Okay, so we're getting a lot of 1s. All right, so a lot of us are in our launch stage. We are in the beginning stages. We haven't built a huge team yet, but we are super excited about making sure we increase sales. So now that I know a lot of us are just starting out, I want to know how you all feel about sales, because a lot of times people feel like they don't like sales. They don't like feeling salesy. They don't like how salespeople even talk to them. They just want to put a cover over their head when it comes to sales. So if that's you, put a high 5 in the chat or a number 5 in the chat. So I can say, okay, we clapping hands, we together, we 5. Or if you like, oh no, I don't have a problem selling. It comes to me naturally. Everything's all good. I don't have any issue. If you put a 10 in the chat. So you on 10, you love sales, you love communicating. Or you on 5, you like, don't really like it, makes me feel weird. Let me see. Most people are either 5 or 10. You either love it or you hate it. So I got 110. Okay. Somebody on 10, they love it. There's no issues. All right. Okay. Somebody said, nah, they don't like it. They didn't like being a sleazy salesperson. They feel like people shady. I was trying to sell them something. Okay. Now I see we got a mixed group. So we have a lot of you guys first starting. A lot of you love sales. A lot of you don't. So here's what I'm going to say. We're going to talk about the 3 C's of sales, and then we're going to talk about the 5 steps of the sales process. So everybody got to have something to take some notes with. I have my notebook. Everybody, I want to see y'all notebooks or something to take some notes with, because if you don't write it down, it doesn't exist. All right. Thank you. There we go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to write down are the 3 C's of sales. That's the first thing. Now, first, we have to define what is sales. Sales is offering a solution to a problem. Okay? We want to define it first. Sales is offering a solution to a problem. So I believe if you are not offering a solution to a problem, then you are that sleazy salesperson. It's true for you, okay? We're going to keep it hot for the next 8 minutes. We're going to keep it honest, open, and transparent. I love my acronyms. Y'all gonna talk about me.
What was that acronym? Say that again.
Honest, open, transparent. We keep it hot. When you touch by an angel, we keep it hot. Everybody call me Coach Angel. We're going to have a honest, open, transparent space. So if you are not offering a solution to a problem, then you are a sleazy salesperson. You should always be offering a solution to a problem. Okay, we're not scamming people over when you touch by an angel with me. Okay, so that's what sales is. Now, when you are offering this solution in your business, no matter if you're offering a product or a service, we know it's offering a solution. It's helping somebody. Whatever your business is, if you're offering something as a salesperson and you're offering a solution to a problem, then you first have to be confident. Okay, that's the first C. You have to be confident. You can't sell what you don't believe in yourself. Okay? Your energy sells before your product ever does. So you have to be confident in your offer, whatever your offer is. Okay? Now, what increased confidence, you may ask? Let me get some volunteers. Let me get 2 people to answer that. What do you think increased confidence?
Credentials. It starts with a C.
Credentials. There we go. Credentials. Yes. That's a great answer, Tina. Okay. She might be the star student for my 10 minutes. One more person. What do you think increased confidence? And that's actually the correct answer. Credentials. Because I promise you, when you get that degree, nobody can tell you nothing about what you got your degree in. Okay. You like, look, I am certified. I have my paper. I have my credentials certified that I could talk about this thing, right? One more person. I'm going to call on you if you don't answer somebody. What do you think increased confidence? We got credentials. What's one more thing? I see y'all looking beautiful on here looking around.
Put preparation.
There we go. Preparation. Who said that?
Cy Smith.
Okay, so I thank you so much for answering. Yes, preparation definitely increase confidence. So what you have to do in your business to increase your confidence, you need to make sure that you have prepared, and you have to make sure that you are actually credentialed. You have the experience to get results in this thing that you're offering. Okay. So if I'm selling lipstick, but I don't ever wear the lipstick, that's not going to increase my confidence. If I'm selling life insurance, but I don't have life insurance, that's not going to increase my confidence because I'm not even sold on it. So the first thing is you have to be sold on the thing that you're offering to increase your confidence. Be an expert in it. Get results for it. Okay. Now, the second C, it's only 3 C's, is communication. Great salespeople, they don't just talk, right? They make sure that they share ideas and stories to communicate what they're really trying to say. Have you all ever met someone and they told you what they did and it took them about 5 minutes to tell you, and at the end of the 5 minutes, you still didn't know what they did? Has that happened to anybody? Raise your hand. Let me see. You're like, wait, girl, what? What do you do? But they just explained it for about 5 minutes. They did not communicate well, right? You shouldn't just talk. You should also share an idea or story to convey what you're really trying to say. Okay. The third C for sales is concise, right? Clarity converts. And you have to make sure you say what you want to say quickly because we have a short attention span. People stop listening after the first 7 seconds. I know you all have done that before. You ever had someone talking to you and they talking, but you thinking about what you're going to eat for dinner when you get home? You left the conversation totally, right? Because we have a short attention span. You got to be concise. You got to be quick to the point. I'm a business coach. I help business owners make more money. That's what I do. It's clear, it's concise, and I'm always confident in that because I've been doing it for 10 years, right? So those are the 3 C's of sales that everybody got to remember after today. Okay, you all agree with those 3 C's? Let me get some fire or a heart in the chat. Let me get some hands. Okay. See, I'm like, y'all got to engage with me. Okay, I don't like talking to myself. All right, so now that we have the 3 C's, now we're going to go to the 5 steps of the sales process. And all of you all are going to agree with this because you've all gone through it as someone who's bought something before. I know everybody on here bought something. In order for you to be on this call right now, you either bought a cell phone or a laptop. So you have gone through these 5 steps. And I know I have about 2 minutes left. So we're going to keep it hot. The first step of sales is awareness. People have to be aware that you exist in order to buy from you. They have to be aware that your company offers this thing, especially now in the launch phase, which many of you said you were. You should be everywhere for people to know you exist. There should be no such thing as I'm not on that. And what do I mean by that? I'm not on the online platform. I'm not on Google. I'm not in my local community center's dashboard. You should be everywhere because people have to know you exist. Awareness is the first step. They have to know who you are, what you do, and how you can help them solve a problem that you're an expert in solving. All right. So that's the first step is awareness. Be everywhere. Be omnipresent. You should be on TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything. They need to be able to find you in your business so they can pay you for what you do. Now, the second step is attraction. Now that they are aware that you exist, they found you, you have to make sure your pictures, your wording, your messaging, the videos, everything is attracting them to you so they can want more of what you have to offer, which leads me to my third step of the sales process, which is engagement. Okay. Now that they're attracted to you or your content, your messaging, they want to engage. They want to join your email list. They want to follow you on Instagram, on Facebook, and all of your other platforms. They want to keep getting informed about what you're offering over and over again. They want to increase that connection. That's how you build trust, right? Then the fourth step, after they're engaged, this is the part that all of you all understand completely. Conversion. They became someone who know you, like you, trust you, and following you to actually paying you to solve the problem that you're an expert in solving. They converted from someone who just knows that you exist and follow you and engage with you and comment on everything to, oh, I'm paying you. I'm paying the invoice, right? I'm a customer now. I'm not just a prospect or a lead. I'm a customer. And then lastly, the last step, and this is the most important out of all five. I want y'all to say, what's the last step, coach?
What's the last step?
There we go. The last step is referrals. Referrals. This is where most people drop the ball. They don't make sure they ask for referrals. That's usually why people don't give them, because you didn't ask for them. However, there is a prerequisite to you getting referrals, and that is you have to over deliver. You have to wow your customer. After they give you that money, they have to give you $10, and you got to make them feel like they should have gave you 100. You have to make sure their experience is so amazing. They're referring their family, their friends, the people they went to college with, everybody, to get their problem solved by you just like they did. And those are the 5 steps of the sales process. So now you know how you should be presenting yourself as a business owner, launching your business. You need to be confident, you need to be concise, and you need to communicate the problem and the solution, and that you're the person they need to go to. And then you know the 5 steps that you have to follow so you can make sure you get more money in your business before this year is out. And we do have 11 more weeks. And that concludes my presentation for my 10 minutes. I appreciate you all, and I'm open up for any questions.
Great job. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We got questions. You know what? They
What
still
made,
afraid of sales, but go ahead. Somebody has one.
what made you go in this direction to be a sales coach?
So what made me go in this direction is I started in the nonprofit space in the service industry. So I started my career telling the reason why it was important for people to invest in children being able to play outside on the south side of Chicago instead of staying indoors on a video game. And when I was sharing that story and sharing that mission that I was so passionate about, I realized that it connected with people and that it helped change so many lives. Then I went over to the for-profit side, and they said, you need to be a salesperson. And I said, I'm not a salesperson. I like to help people know how money works. That's why I became an insurance agent. I don't really want to sell people stuff. I just want to tell people about it. And they was like, but that's all a salesperson is. And I was like, oh, so salespeople are just helping people solve problems. And then that's how I decided this was the way I should go.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. That was a really good question.
We have another
Oh, yeah.
question.
Okay, I was waiting, I was being patient, and I don't know how your system works, Sonia, so I thought I was waiting for you to call me. So just jump in with the questions?
Oh, yes, for sure. I
Okay.
mean, it's not like we got a whole line, you know what I mean?
I,
Go ahead.
I would prefer that you put your hand up. Ron doesn't know how to
I
put his hand up, but
I
you go.
had my hand,
I saw your hand, but
Oh,
Ron
okay.
I
doesn't
didn't see it.
know.
I'm
He
sorry.
don't know how to put his hand up. Girl, he a different type of person. But Tina, you go ahead.
Thank you so much for your 10-minute, I'm going to call it an elevator speech, but a lesson. It's a mini lesson. Thank you so much for your mini lesson. And I come from the nonprofit world. So we're
Mhm.
going to chat later for the nonprofit world, but I know all of these steps work for the nonprofit as well. Thank you.
You're welcome. Of course. That's actually where I got them from because I assumed because I was working for a nonprofit that I wasn't selling. But we're all selling
Yeah.
at all times, even if we're selling ourselves. I always say we're all great salespeople. If you have
Yeah.
ever been in a committed relationship with someone, you are an amazing salesperson because you have sold somebody on the idea that out of all the billions of people on the planet, they need to be with you and only you.
Well,
That's a
Goodness.
hard sell.
I think I'm a good salesperson because I had to sell mathematics for 34 years, and I had a
Mm.
bunch of people in front of me saying, "When am I ever going to need this?" So I'm selling something to people that think they're never going to use this.
I know that's right. Oh,
Angelesha. Oh,
Patricia.
we have a question.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Patricia.
Or
Mhm.
am I, can you hear? Oh, okay. That was excellent, by the way. I have been in sales. I spent most of my career in sales. I had over 20 years experience selling um,
Uh-oh. She's breaking up for
technology and
me.
literally,
Is she breaking up for
oh,
you all too?
Yeah, she's breaking up. I couldn't understand you.
I heard her
Try
say she
again.
was in sales for 25 years. Is that what you said, Miss Patricia?
But try again.
yeah, it was for over 20 something years. So I think your presentation was excellent. Um, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And one of the things that you just said that I think is really important is you said you're always selling yourself. Everything is sales. So there is no profession that you can be in where you are not selling. And I think that is so important to pass on, whether it's nonprofit organizations, any job in corporate America. And you're right, the biggest sale is yourself. It's the way you
Yes.
communicate and it's the way you present that message and solution to others that will make a difference. So thank you for that. It was enlightening to hear you
Of
present that
course.
way.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for sharing.
Now, Ms. Jones, why did I have the impression I didn't know you that you were a real estate agent? I no.
No.
I
Well, maybe because a lot of my clients are in the real estate industry.
is that what it is? For some reason,
Well, a lot of people do mistake me for being in real estate, and I believe it's because of how I market. So I market very similar, professional attire, talking about wealth generation, talking about leaving a legacy, and maybe that's why too.
so insurance is that your major field?
That's my background, yes, but my
Okay, so
major industry is being a business consultant.
okay. So
Mm,
that's what you do now. Okay.
mm-hmm.
Because I didn't recall seeing the insurance there. Now, but okay, I'm gonna ask you to finish up, but just talk about your consulting. You didn't tell us about your consulting.
So as a business consultant, I specialize in sales and marketing. So I help business owners get the sales skills they need if they don't have them themselves. And if they have a team, then I train their sales team. I have a team of 7 people on staff. We have 2 locations in the Chicagoland area, and we are going to be intentional about training up salespeople to increase revenue so we can lower the poverty rate. And so as a consultant, that's what we specialize in, making sure that you make more money in your business so you can have more opportunities given to people to be for hire at your company.
You know, there's a tendency for people not to want to spend money on their business. But I heard Roland Martin talking, and I don't know what that word you used. What was that word you used last night, Deveda? But I heard Roland Martin say that, and it was so sickening to me, and it just stays in my head. Of Black businesses, only 5% of Black businesses make $5 million or more per year. And I was just devastated hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and you tell me because you're out there approaching them and doing sales, that it's part of it that they don't want to spend the money on themselves, on their business. What is the problem?
The problem is many times business owners, they lack clarity in 3 core areas, and they all start with the letter P. The first P is people. They have to improve in how they are relating to people and building with them. So a lot of times we don't know how to communicate properly. We don't know how to work on ourselves as leaders. We don't know how to hold ourselves accountable. We don't know how to be decisive. And those skills transfer over to our business growth and keeps us stuck. So that's the first P. The second P is purpose. So a lot of times business owners start businesses because they like what they do, meaning my name is Sharon. I love to bake cakes. People tasted my cakes. They told me that it's really good. So I opened up a bakery and now I'm a business owner. And I started this because I love cakes, but I don't have a bigger purpose that's going to outlive me that is moving this business forward. So the second P is purpose. It's lack of purpose for something bigger than just the main thing. And then the third P, I would argue, is process. So a lot of times we start these businesses and we're making money, but we don't have a process that's efficient and effective that can work without us being present, and is preventing us from growing at the level we need to grow so we can really make an economic impact. And that's why a lot of businesses only have less than 5 employees and they've been in business for longer than 5 years. So that's my thoughts.
That's your perspective.
Yeah.
Now, if you would share with me, or share with us, your experience with Entrepreneurs Academy. Mine was great. I loved it. I finished in 2016, and it was a very good experience. And they've grown so much, but I didn't feel like taking the class again, the 12-week class. But they offer so many more resources now than they did then. So share your experience. What was your experience with Entrepreneurs Academy?
I mean, my experience was great. Of course I did the 12-week class, but I just graduated in 2024. 2024, 2023, one of those 2 years. I don't remember, but yes, one of those 2 years. It was so much great information, so many great resources. I charge minimum $1,500 a month to do the same thing that they do in Entrepreneurs Academy. And so to have it free in their neighborhood with experts at that level, I thought that was amazing.
People don't know how dynamic that program is. I try to tell them. Some people will hear it and some people will not. It is a dynamic program.
Absolutely. It's truly phenomenal. And I was so grateful that I was able to do it free.
I know you was.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna wish you luck on everything that you do, and I appreciate you being here. And thank you so much.
Of
If you have any
course. And
more
thank you so
questions
much.
for her, you're so welcome. Put them in the chat room if you think of something else. Okay, she's free to go in the chat room and chat with you, and chat with all of us. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me, Miss Sonia. I really appreciate it.
Oh yes, ma'am. I see you out there. I see you out there. I definitely do. You know, I have probably 200 and something posts. You girl, it's too much. Um, Coming through there daily. I mean, it's so many posts, but I don't get to them quick enough, and sometimes, and you can't approve them automatically because then you get so much spam. But I see you. I see all those people. You know, I see them all. I see them all. Cy Smith, are you with us?
I've been here. Yes, indeed.
Okay, okay. He's
That queen didn't answer my question. I said, is she a Capricorn or a Leo?
Who was that question for?
For me?
Our speaker.
Oh, I'm
okay.
neither one. I'm a Gemini.
Because
Uh-oh, all right, that's different.
in the
That's
chat room,
different.
she wasn't checking the chat room while she was speaking. But
Oh, I see it now. It was the last one. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't see
No,
it.
you are good. And the reason I just asked that because you definitely appear to be, very attention to detail. And typically those two signs are they control things like that. So that's why I asked.
so which one of those signs are you? So that's why you asked. But anyway, because you one of them, aren't you?
How you gonna call me out, Sonya? I'm Capricorn.
Uh-huh.
January 10th. Yeah.
Attention to detail. That's all.
My
That's
dad
all
is
you
too.
are. That's all you about.
Well,
Okay,
it's
let
a
me put my
bad word for that. Starts with an A, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
Okay, but
Yeah.
anyway, Cy Smith, community organizer and founder of National Black Club University. Let's talk about community building. National Black Club University is an organization born from his naval service in 1994 and formally established in 2003 with the clear purpose, making neighborhoods safer through a structured leadership model of village mayors, district leaders, and zip code governors. I'm a zip code governor, 60609, to let you know, folks. National Black Club University tackles violence in 167 of America's most dangerous neighborhoods by tracking, monitoring, and countering acts of violence. Cy has dedicated his work to building stronger, safer communities nationwide. This man has a plan. Cy, I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Well, salute to you, my queen. Thank you for having me. And I learned something with the registration here with Zoom. So I told my wife we're going to do that for all of our people too, make them do that registration. It was so quick and easy. So thank you for that. For all those that I don't know, Ron Carter, respect to you. Thank you for your decades of service. My name is Cyron Smith, but everyone just calls me Cy, easier to pronounce and remember. And married, father of 4. All the children are grown except one. And joined the Navy in 1993. I got out, joined in 93, got out in 96, and then spent 10 years in the reserve. Where I grew up at, it was shooting and killing around the clock. You guaranteed they blow the whistle. That means they finna start shooting and killing. And so I grew up around that in the late 80s. And I asked God to let me grow up and do something about it. I had a chance in the 90s during the crack epidemic to get out there and do some things I knew I wasn't destined to do. And so it was the U.S. Navy that got me out of there, let me travel and see the world and meet new people. And from the killing fields of Cabrini Green, Jane Addams, where I was born and raised, I was able to see people in Mombasa, Africa, United Arab Immigrants, Thailand. So those experiences really centered me around the fact that exposure, travel is the missing element I felt when it comes to our inner cities. I really started the work of National Black Club University in Los Angeles because I was stationed in San Diego. And by a 3-hour drive up, going north, I was able to go into the projects of LA and do the work, engaging people, finding out where they see themselves, similar to what I was when I was a youngster in the projects of Chicago. And so I always tell people that's really the birthplace is LA. But I physically got organized when I got out in 96 on the west side of Chicago, going block by block, because that's where the people are. I also try to make sure people know there's only two groups in the whole country that is door to door, block to block as their whole business model. A lot of people use door to door, block to block when they have an interest, politicians especially. So they go out when it's election time, door to door. You have different organizations when they have an event, they go door to door. But we're talking about only two groups that's their everyday business model. And that's the US Post Office and the US Census Bureau. And for those who don't know, the Census Bureau is not just every 10 years. It's every year. They just go all out during the centennial every 10 years. So anyway, their whole model is go to the people, not the other way around. Come to me. And most events, the flyers say, come to me, come to me. And with the shooting and killing and the foolishness that we deal with, we wanted to make sure that we were going directly where the people were. Chicago, and most people on here from Chicago, has been the most dangerous city for a very, very long time. I don't drink the Kool-Aid of the per capita because of how segregated Chicago is. Dr. King said when he was hit in the head with a rock in Marquette Park that he had not seen segregation like he saw in Chicago. So that tells you, from a man who traveled the whole world, for him to say that about Chi-Town, that really should close a lot of our mouths up, because this man's seen a lot. For him to say what he saw there, so it just shows how strong our Chicago people are to endure what this man said he didn't see nowhere else, which was the racism, the segregation that he saw. So what we did, and I say we, it's me, but I don't like saying me, so I'm saying we. So in 1994, that's when I put the map together that I felt was needed in our community. I knew travel was a big part of that, because growing up in the projects, I needed that outlet. And so that was the key. I knew travel was the key. But then I was looking at all the violence happening everywhere else, in Detroit, in St. Louis, in Milwaukee. And knowing that Dr. King said Chicago was the worst, I said, okay, Chicago should be the center. It should be the base, the headquarters. And so from that standpoint, I took every Black zip code in Chicago, and it was 20. This is in the 1990s. And I linked every zip code to a different US city. So what we have built now to help us move this safety agenda forward is we have 20 zip codes in Chicago linked to 20 US cities. Sonia 60609 is the zip code she manages. That's linked to Detroit, Michigan. And to think about that, the linkage is for that reason I said, which is travel. We need the people in Detroit, and some people never been to Chicago. We need the youngsters there to be able to have an outlet. And that outlet is to 60609, which we consider in Chicago, Little Detroit. Every zip code is a little different sister city. And that's so that travel can be the center and the base of what we're doing. So every zip code in Chicago is a different city. Out of all the ethnicities in this country, Black people are the only ones, based on our research, who still don't have their own last name. I'm not really a Smith. You're not really a Purdue. But the bottom line is we had what we call HENA taking place against us. That's heritage taken away, ethnicity taken away, nationality taken away, and then your ancestry. Now, you could do ancestry and capture some of that, but the other parts is why we see our community still dysfunctional at this stage in the game, is because no one else, every other group at least know their last name, they know where they come from in Europe, Greece, whatever the case is, but we're battling that, and we have a lot of forces at play to help make sure we don't do it. So I took all 20 zip codes in Chicago, and I linked it to 20 African countries. And so now you got Chicago zip codes managing different cities. Now we got them managing different countries in Africa. So again, going back to Sonia, her zip code 60609 manages Detroit, Michigan. It also has Ethiopia assigned to them. And so the key with the sister African country is to begin the linkage from a people who were severed to connecting. And so the west side of Chicago zip codes is linked to the western part of Africa. The east part of Africa is linked to the eastern part of Chicago, We don't have North Side, so we didn't do the northern part of Africa because we don't have the northern part of Chicago. We also took every zip code and linked it to one profession, one industry. And I'm gonna tell you why that matters. Because in Black America, you have a lot of hanging out, loitering, idle time. That was workshop for those who believe. And so the key was, how do we create interdependency? So again, going back to Sonia, her zip code manages all our trade persons, carpenter, bricklayers, plumbers, welders. Let me tell you why that matters. Because if New City, zip codes, New City is keeping a list of all our plumbers and our welders and carpenters, and you have a plumber or a welder or a carpenter in Roseland, that gives Roseland a reason to care about and interact with New City, because they want to know, what information did you come up with for welders? I'm a welder. If we don't do that, they would do what they already do in Roseland, New City do what they do, and we have this disconnect that we have right now. By giving them one responsibility, one industry, it causes us to need each other. We call it interdependency, not this independent stuff, but how we be interdependent. And so that's what that allows us to do. Then we also linked it to a white suburb and a Black suburb. So the South suburb, each zip code is linked to a South suburb, like Dixmoor is linked to 60609. And then on the northern side, we have Waukegan linked to 60609. That's the white suburb, Black suburb. The purpose of that, I have a lot of, being in the Navy, I met a lot of ethnicities, served with them, put our life on the line together. And so underneath the racism is that people are people, and there's great people in all ethnicities. So we wanted to have that link so that when we meet, we call our white brothers and sisters who care about what Black people go through, modern day abolitionists, MDAs. So when we look at, Waukegan, we're looking for the MDAs, not the ones who probably, benefit off the racism, but the ones who want to see something change with that. And then in the South suburbs, again, we're looking for them. Now, the last part of this structure that I'm talking about is we ask them to convene only once a month. This once a month convening means 12 times a year. The purpose of that is so that we can always go 29 days and then audit what we've done. So every 29 days, then we audit what we've done. So again, going back to our sister Sonia, every fourth Monday of the month is her zip code day. And that means everything attached to it, that's their day as well. And so today is 60628, which is Roseland. And behind me is the South African flag, because today is South Africa's once a month duty day, because they're linked to Roseland, and Roseland duty day is today. So every day this rotation is happening. And I'm gonna tell you why this is gonna be very, very impactful for us dealing with this crime and killing. And the biggest thing that I saw with the Navy was everyone on that ship, every single person on that ship had a role to play. No one was on that ship happenstance. And on that ship, it was 3 levels for everyone. Someone older, near retirement, meaning they had all the knowledge. You had someone in their prime. And then you had someone like me, 18 years old, there to eventually take over and move into that adult role or that retire role. When you look at our communities, we have to have, we call it RATE, retirees, adults, and youth. So you have the intergenerational that does what it does. The retired carpenter is going to help the youth that want to be a carpenter. The adult carpenter might be doing more work, and where the retired carpenter is free. They don't have to worry about politics, losing their pension. They're set, so they can be freer to speak and hold people more accountable than that adult carpenter who have to play politics. And so, and the youth just need to suck it up and learn everything they can. So with Ray, and then you look about everyone in the zip code, now we got everyone covered because of your zip code. We got everyone covered because you're either a retiree, adult, or youth. We do have ancestors too, but they're gone, so we just pay tribute to them. So we got every generation covered. We got every zip code covered. We got at least 20 of Africa's 55 countries covered. We got 20 different cities covered. Now we just got to get people to buy into the massaging of that, the infusing of that. You communicating your auntie who lives in New City, your nephew who lives in Ethiopia, and as we do that, that once a month time allows them to plug in so that they can tap in when the rest of those people are getting together. So that's kind of the presentation. We call it CUDS. And only the Post Office and the Census Bureau have CUDS. Stands for Centralized uniform delivery system, meaning you go to the people, not the other way around. So thanks for that presentation. Any thoughts, questions? I'm open for that.
This the centralized uniform delivery system.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is awesome. When did you start this again?
November 20th, 94. It's our birthday coming up.
20th, 1994. Wow.
31 years in 1 month.
You're a Capricorn, you said?
January 10th, 75.
Oh, I thought you said this. Okay, because when you said November 20th, I'm like, that's Scorpio. But
Oh,
okay,
no, that's the organization. Yeah.
got
Right.
it. Okay. And the name of the organization is what again?
National Block Club University.
National Block Club University. Okay. Thank you. This was
All
amazing.
right,
I
appreciate
learned so much.
you. Appreciate you. Thank you. All
Well, I
right.
have to
Any
say,
other thoughts or questions?
so what's
There's
the
the man.
direction now? Yeah, what is the direction right now for the university? Is there a particular citywide component?
Yes. So every month we on tour. We on tour to a different neighborhood, and it's the same every year. So every October, the tour is in South Shore. Every October, you can go on YouTube and look at us on tour in South Shore in October 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And what the tour means is all the 19 other zip codes are asked to go into that one zip code and do what you do. If you're a plumber, go over there and fix someone's toilet for free. If you're a carpenter, go over there and fix someone's porch for free, whatever. Can we take all our talents and put it in one zip code and then go rotate that around to the different zip codes? So that's the citywide effort, Ron. But the biggest thing, because I think I know where you're going, the biggest thing is we had to convince Black America, 46 million Black people, that doing for self and financing is really what's going to allow us to create vibrancy throughout the world. And it's going to allow us to deal with all this violence and everything else, is when we finance our own redevelopment. If the government is financing you, the government can stop you. Our thoughts and beliefs has been $1 a month, which is $12 a year. It's been like that forever. It's recession proof, never changes. And to me, every carpenter, bricklayer, plumber, every retiree, adult and youth, they can afford that $1. So that's where we at. We in that constant awareness and education to get people to see that that dollar holds the key, because it's not going to stop your eviction or anything that's bad happening to you. But when we agree, we talking about $46 million a month. If only half of them did it, $23 million a month. So that now all of that stuff I described is finance, and it's us, and only us can stop us.
I faded out for a little bit. Coming back to Dearborn Homes with me to do that, what we did about 4 years ago.
Wait, say that again.
So when are you coming back to Dearborn Homes to do what we did about 4 years ago and talking to the residents?
Well, when you set it up, Wednesdays is when we on the east side of Chicago, so that makes it easy for us on any Wednesday. Remember, that's when I was over there with you before. It was Wednesdays.
Okay, so what's that, next Wednesday?
Yeah, that's the beauty. It's set already. So I next Wednesday I'm gonna be in Bronzeville, so I can easily migrate over to where you are. 7 o'clock is kind of our Zoom, so we'll try to stay away from the 7 o'clock. But I could do the Zoom from being out there with you, so that won't stop us.
Yeah, I would like that. So that's the date.
You notice, Ryan, if you go back and look at the YouTubes when we were out there, it was always on the Wednesday. It was never Tuesday because that's West Side. It was never Monday because that's over West, Southwest. It was always East because we had to operate that structure to stay able to service all 3 parts of Chicago.
So we have a date next Wednesday.
Yeah. Let's do it at 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock. That way I had time to still be with everybody else earlier.
Okay, sounds good.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Tina had a question.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and I appreciate what you're doing for our community on the west side. I grew up on the west side, but it was changing. But my sisters went to Orr High School. So you know, I am Mexican by heritage, but I know the culture.
Yes. Thank you.
Chicago,
Yes.
African Chicago. I'm called because I'm Mexican Chicana. Um, Black people from the West Side, just I guess, you know, I understand the problems. I understand them very deeply, and it's connected to why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I'm picking up a lot of things. I would love to see you in action. And you're going to be at Wednesdays in Bronzeville. What time? So I could just watch you in action.
Well,
You know what
take
I'm
my number
saying?
down so we can, take my number down so we can talk. 312-405-8844. Yeah, 312-405-8844. That would be amazing.
Did you
And
put it in the
because
chat side?
Yeah, I did it. I did it. It's up there. It's the first one, so you got to go all the way up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And another thing, I love what you said about everybody needs to do their part. And
Yes.
especially right now with all the craziness, in order to hold ourselves together and have a security that can, you know, I have a lot of math and I know engineering and I know how things work. Fractals is my thing, and how it works to connect people and make something so beautiful. And I see that in what you're doing. It's a
Yes.
fractal in my mind, and I want to see
Yes.
it in action. Thank you very
Yes.
much.
Yes. And that math piece, because we have teachers, the Teachers Network, every second Saturday is Teachers Day. Look at this harmonization with what you're already doing.
Now, Sai, do you have any? Hello, Ms. Smith. Thank you for joining us. Now, Sai, do you have any areas that don't have their governors in that you're looking for governors for?
Well, it's not that simple. We need people all the time. We never turn anyone away, so we always want people. So yes, but in terms of governors, because there's different levels. We got mayors, district leaders, and all that too.
So it's a place for everybody.
Oh, big time. And
Big
remember,
time.
professions. We need the professions. We need the Africans. It's room for everyone.
Okay. Now, the website is National Black Club University. Okay. And anyone who can do their yearly commitment, which is $12, we would love to see you do that. Okay. And that would be great. Let me see. Are there any more questions? Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay. So our next panelist, let me get down here to my notes. Get down here to my notes. It's going to be Tina Padilla. And I've been knowing Tina quite a while, and I'm very excited about what she's doing because I'm going to make this preference. I listened to, I think it's called Democracy Now! Mark Ellis is an attorney, and what he was talking about is that pro-democracy America. What he's talking about is that the America that we once knew and lived in is not going to be the America that we're going to live in. So we need to stop thinking about how we can go back and be how everything was before 2025. That's the killing field right there. And start thinking about how we're going to live in the new America. We're going to have to create a new America that is functioning in a way that's beneficial to us. So that requires some creative thinking. That requires not trying to go back to the way things was. And I think that's my preference for Tina, because she's creating a new organization, which is not going back to the way things were, but the way things are going to be when we live in this new America. Now, let me say this. Excuse me. In my little notes. Tina is a
Yes.
Chicago Public School pension advocacy consultant, founder of Pension Advocacy Group. With a passion for advocating for children, educators, and retirees, Tina brings decades of experience and leadership to the forefront of pension reform. She was elected trustee of the Chicago's Teacher Pension Fund, Chicago Teachers Pension Fund, for 4 consecutive terms, where she played a pivotal role in safeguarding the financial security of the 130-year-old Chicago Teachers Pension Fund. Also, with a 34-year tenure as a teacher, as a math teacher in Chicago public schools. We're gonna turn it over to you now, Tina.
Hey, Sonia, can I share my slides just to keep me concentrate, you know what I mean? I'm gonna
Of
share a
course.
slide.
Of
Here.
course.
Okay, share. And then I'm going to, let me get this out of. Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for allowing me to be here and sharing this time with me. A little bit about myself. I am an educator, an entrepreneur, ecstatic dance enthusiasm. I like to move. And my purpose with the pension advocacy group is to protect defined benefit plans for all. A defined benefit is like for some people will understand it as a Social Security. I'm not going to go in too deep into what a defined benefit is, but teachers, Chicago public school teachers, do not contribute to Social Security. All we have is this defined. Most people turn, when you're working throughout your life, you put money into your Social Security plan. That is a defined benefit plan. Teachers don't have that Social Security. We have the Chicago Teacher Pension Fund. That is a 130-year-old fund. And when I educate my teachers and I speak to the people and I try to sell them this defined benefit as the gold standard of retirement savings, because there's a need, because we have been fraudulently misrepresented for too long, and the accountability is, I don't know, out the window, and it's the wild, wild west at the highest level, which in my mind is so we have the monetary policy part of what runs the United States, the monetary part and the fiscal part. I see the Chicago Teacher Pension Fund as the monetary piece and CPS as the fiscal piece of the big puzzle that is going to finance and keep public education alive. This is in my mind, and my passion is to defend freedom, intellectual freedom, and public education. I know too much, and I'm trying to stay on time, and I forgot to do my timer, but Sonia will keep me on time. This is just a little slide, keeping me. I started in 2011 as a trustee. I was elected by active teachers all the active teachers. And when I sat there, when I took on this role, I was on my sabbatical. I was going into business because that's my heart. You know, I'm a business person. It's just how I was wired. I'm wired. Um, and I was tired of teaching math. Like I said, selling math is a hard thing. So I was going to teach people business. And I went back and I earned my MBA. So I still wanted to be a teacher, but I wanted to share my business skills. And through this process and sitting as a trustee, I saw I was learning best practices in the classroom and then going into the highest level of finance for teachers, which is the defined benefit savings plan. I saw how poorly we were represented. So I started bringing in my knowledge that I was learning in school, and it didn't go well. You know, people didn't like the fact that I knew too much and that I was pointing to where I saw things were not going right. So in December of 2022, the last day of the year, I retired of being a teacher. And in 2023, I decided that I was going to continue what I needed to do because I know that children need good educators in front of them. And those educators, because they don't make a lot of money, because to be a teacher, you have to take a cut for your intellectual property. So in order for us to balance and make it equitable for humans, and you have to have a special heart, not only the intellectual property, but you have to have a couple of characteristics that we want to keep in front of our children. And I want to make sure that these individuals are taken care of when they're no longer can be in front of a teacher. Everybody knows we're going to get old and we cannot do the job that we've been doing for whatever, 30 years, 20 years. Things start hurting. We just can't handle it. And this defined benefit is a way that we could, and I heard a lot of the speakers, it's standardized, it's guaranteed, it's 130-year-old money that has been working for us until people started doing bad things. My it's a nonprofit. I have a board, and these are individuals that are either active teachers or retired teachers. But as you can see, a lot of entrepreneurs on my little board. And here are a few other people that I have on my board. And we are, and you saw the passion. When my first year, when I launched the nonprofit, I had already established some key elements that I wanted to accomplish, and that is to restore this gold standard, which has been misrepresented, fraudulently misrepresented for 30 years. And I can see exactly what happened. And my goal is, in order to restore it, is to reverse engineer what has been done to our fund. And again, I am doing what the hot, thing in the sales. I'm confident. I'm getting my credentials. Oh, I forgot this little disclosure. I don't want to call myself an expert yet, although I snuck in here because I do want to share what I'm doing and connect with other people. I am an emerging expert, and I'm going to hold off calling myself an expert. I'm working on earning my certified financial planner. Like, I have an MBA in finance. I've taught, I sat there on the board, but I think that people will understand when I communicate with my audience, I'm not talking about institutional finance. I can bring it down to a personal finance language and speak to I'm going to call them my people, which are teachers. So when I graduated from working for 30, I graduated, you see, I still have the language of a teacher. When I retired from my service as a teacher, and people ask me, what are you doing in retirement? I tell them I became a missionary. My mission is to restore the gold standard of retirement savings for everybody, which is the defined benefit plan, and teachers are my people. And why is this? Because I have a passion for children and elders, and protecting the teachers are protecting our children. These are a few of the things that I have. You know, I go to every single board meeting. I participate in the public participation. I'm engaged, and I'm trying to engage our members because we're so busy with our lives. We don't think about our retirement savings. And so I'm trying to engage teachers from day one to get engaged. And again, this is my first year. I do have helpers, but it's all volunteer. I don't have any money rolling in yet, so I can't pay not even a stipend. So it's just rolling out. What I want to leave you with for my expertise is financial literacy is important, and true financial literacy. Like, get yourself a little financial calculator. Learn how to do time value money type problems. You know, present value for future value calculations. How long will it take me to pay off this debt? Or if I have a lump sum, how long will it take that I can earn certain payments to sustain my retirement savings plan? And this connected with the first presenter with your sales of insurance. We're all connected, and that's what I'm seeing with my presentation. Here are more things. That little calculator, people pay a lot of money to have these calculations that if you understand the concept of these numbers and know how to use that little calculator, you'll save yourself a lot of money. And a dollar today is better than a dollar tomorrow. And here's some more techniques, a little bit of reduce your techniques to reduce a payment. And this is what the problem that we were talking about with the first. I saw the problem and I'm offering a solution. And that's what I'm doing. I'm collecting all my confidence. I'm going my education, continuing my education. My dog is here and it keeps on jumping on me and bothering me. So I'm sorry for that. But this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to protect this, and I go and talk to legislators because we have to protect and make right what people made mistakes. I'm going to call them mistakes so that I don't, stay positive. I want to stay positive, so I'm going to call it a mistake. And questions? That's all I have, Sonia. Is that okay? I wanted just to stay focused on the nonprofit piece, and the nonprofit piece this is my mission. I want to keep elders in their homes. I want to teach them financial literacy, but at a high level, there's people that, imposters, they come out and they say they want to teach you and how to write a check, keeping your checking account. It's more than that. For when you want to you're in the adult world, we got to learn adult financial literacy. And it's not that difficult if you with the right tools. Just like anything, cooking is so much easier when you have the right ingredients and the right tools. And being financially secure and building generational wealth, which I heard people here talking about, that's what I'm about too. And I'm so happy that I'm here and connecting with you all.
Thank you so much, Tina. Thank you very much. Okay. You can unshare your screen so we can see everyone. Do we have any questions for Tina?
No, but I'm glad she's talking about financial literacy. I wish I had spent more time with financial planner before I retired. Now, I mean, now I feel like I'm really on it, but I can imagine where I would be had had I spent more time with the financial planner, or if I just found someone who was willing to just speak to me in a language that I'll understand. There was always somebody ready to sell me something rather than teach me. I mean, because I'm looking now at things that I had invested in when my daughter was like 3 years old. She's 40 now, and it's an embarrassment to look at what hasn't happened with that investment just because I didn't know I need to be doing something else. And so now I mean I'm not ashamed to tell someone, when I don't quite understand, I don't hesitate to say, speak to me like I'm a 5-year-old. you know, Speak to me like I'm a 5-year-old. When I think, you should knock it up, but take it up a notch or so, I'll tell you that. But right now, I want to understand what you're talking about. I mean, I respect people's level of expertise where I clearly don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's right.
and I'm now, to the point where, I look at things that I've done over my lifetime and people I've known over my lifetime that just didn't take the time to explain things to me, in a way that I'll understand, because I've always been very responsible, but anyway, so as I said, I just kind of wish that it didn't happen. I mean, that I had spent, I wish that I had spent time with someone who was willing to explain things to me, especially around financial planning.
Well, during my teaching, I had a side hustle because I was too tired. I did not want to teach summer school or night school. So I had a side hustle and I was a mortgage broker. And when I was a mortgage broker, it's similar to being a certified financial planner. There's a lot of things that are similar. And I would try to teach people. And then my boss would say, some people you could give them a lot of information, and some people so you have to know your people. And I would try my best, because I'm a math teacher, to explain to them what their payment meant, what compound interest. That's another big thing. It's a concept. These are concepts that people pay a lot of money, and you can all do it yourself at home.
Mm.
And that's where eventually, with all I'm just a one-man shop, even though I have teachers, but they're working. People are busy. That's why I'm taking my retirement time, because I think this is my mission. I'm a missionary right now. It's nonprofit. I want to keep it nonprofit because we're working with big money, and I don't want to corrupt it. And I know some whatever. You know what I'm getting. I am a woman of faith. And I'm good. I know faith is going to carry me through this, and we're going to fix the nonprofit. And Sonia, I know that yesterday, this is 130-year-old fund. If folks like the Rockefellers can have generational wealth that is hundreds of years old, why can't service Civil servants have that wealth for generations. That's my argument. I'm keeping the money where the money was earned and where the money belongs and where it was intended. This money was intended for children so they can have subject matter experts in front of them. Children need experts in front of them too, not just adults. And when those experts can't do their jobs, they have to be taken care of because that is a labor of love being in front of the children. I'm telling you, this is from my heart. It's a labor of love. And I hear it from the presenters today as well.
Thank you, Tina. I did have a question about that slide. When you say at 2000, it was at 90%, it was funded at 97%. At 2024, it's now at 48%. Can you explain that slide to me or to us?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get to it so I could see what I said. Oh, with the tier 2. Okay, so in 1995, our fund was 100% funded, and there is a number which is called the funding ratio that is determining how healthy your fund is. And when it's 100%, that means we have enough for every dollar we need to pay our annuitants in perpetuity, we have it. And now we only have in 2024, I think our funding ratio, it goes from 48 to 47. I'll just say 48. That means we only have 48 cents for every dollar we need to pay our annuitants in perpetuity. And the reason...
I'm sorry. So
Go
what
ahead.
you're saying is that right now at that 48%, those retiring may not get their full retirement or they benefit. Is that what you're saying?
If we don't do something, and that's why we have to repeal tier 2. And that's why I'm working to repair to too. And there's there's a lot of moving pieces. And we have a statute, which is our constitutional right that our pensions cannot be diminished or impaired. But the legal system, I ask sometimes, hey, this is the law, blah, blah. I go, where's the justice? Some of these laws are not just. So they change by using amendments to do what they want to do. So they amended our Constitution, which clearly says you cannot impair or diminish these pensions. So they said, oh, we'll pay you back. But now that the bill is due, now that it's time to come, the bill is due, they made this new Band-Aid. They put a Band-Aid with these tier 2, but the tier 2 doesn't meet what they call the safe harbor law, which is a protection Social Security has. And that Social Security law covers pensions, and pensions have to do what the Social Security does. And when the legislators made this law of tier 2 pension, they failed that safe harbor law. So that's why they have to put the money back. It's a must. It's wage theft if they don't, because our pensions are deferred compensation, meaning this is money that I've earned and I'm putting it away. And if it's not there for me, then it's wage theft. And if they don't repeal tier 2, the way money works, it's not going to grow. We're not getting money. And then they're doing generous things with our health insurance too. And right now there's a bill out there. I think it's called 918. I don't want to misquote. There's a legislation out there that they want to increase this subsidy, but there are better ways to cover the subsidy, because the subsidy just came in and they just said, okay, let's say $100 million of the funds that you have in your pension, it's not even a separate trust, which other union workers like the plumbers, they have they have this set up differently. For the Chicago teachers, this subsidy started in 1990, where they took a chunk of our money that should be invested for pensions. They put it into a health fund and it subsidizes your insurance cost. And then they gave generous retirement in 95. Oh, wait, in 95, they stopped paying. They took and they called it a holiday. They stopped paying what they're supposed to be paying. It's like your employer not putting into your Social Security the money he's supposed to be putting into Social Security. But because it's a private and we're dealing with just CPS, the Chicago Teachers, CPS, the Board of the Education, the union, which is the workers' labor controls the labor, and then the fund. The fund is a totally monetary entity. Those people got together and they had this bright idea that you don't have to pay, and they had made the law change. I could get the law change amended, so they stopped paying. They diverted a $1.5 billion out of our pension fund. They don't want to pay it back. Oh, and after they diverted that 1.5 billion in 1998, they started giving these healthy retirement savings. Now, this whole plan was already created and done to the private sector defined benefits. So people like Verizon, I'm thinking that are still in business, and a lot of these healthcare companies, they had defined benefit for their employees. And then they use tricks of the business world and this new, and Sonia, you understand subprime mortgages, what they did. Well, we have these things called defined contribution plans. So a pension, a Social Security, they're defined benefit plans. A defined contribution plan is your 401k, or for public sector workers, it's a 403b, and there's other numbers. That just came into play not too long ago. I think it turned 50 years old. So I see that as a subprime way of retirement savings. The gold standard, the A paper, is your regular guaranteed monthly check at the end of every month. When you retire, you'll get your benefits.
Tina,
That's the gold standard.
Tina, thank you so much.
Okay.
I understand. Because we do talk, and I understand a lot of things can't be said, and I like the word mistake. A lot of things can't be said, but you got a hell of a job ahead of you.
Yeah,
That's
I
gonna
know.
that's gonna be one hell of a fight. But I thank you so much.
Hey,
Um,
somebody's got to do it.
somebody's got to do it, and you're doing it.
And I'm not doing it alone.
Wonderful. I like the way that you've only been there a year, and you really pushing it. You're really setting it up, Tina. You're really working it, and I want to thank you very much. If you have any
Thank you.
questions for Tina, please put them in the chat. Um, I did have one other question, but I need to move on. Our next panelist. Oh, excuse me. I told you we just be going on. We do. Our next panelist. Let me pull up my little cheat notes. It's Dr. Deveda Francois. Well, I made you last because I didn't even think you were going to show up. Dr. Deveda Francois is a community psychologist, educator, mediator, and executive director of Community Assets Builders Association, Community Assets Builder Association, CABA, a Chicago-based nonprofit dedicated to advancing community prosperity, inclusion, and empowerment through collaboration and interdisciplinary action. Under Dr. Francois' leadership, CABA operates as a multifaceted collective that unifies community psychologists, researchers, educators, and practitioners from diverse fields. I like that, Deveda. That's what we like to hear. Bring it all together. Deveda, I'm going to turn over the floor to you.
Okay. Um, well, I've been taking a few notes here from everybody. Uh, and since the first presentation is about sales, I got a question to ask. Angelesha, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Okay, because you talked about sales and sales being resting on offering a solution to a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way that that I tend to want to approach things since took over, or I was asked to take over Community Assets Builders, also known as CABA. That's the acronym, but we call it CABA. And CABA has been around for over 21 years, I believe it is. And the founder of CABA, shortly, a couple of years before he passed away, he had asked me if I would take over the organization. He was, getting up in age, and it was founded in the Inglewood area, but it was primarily based on social services. Now, I retired from government, um, and I worked on the social service side of government. I worked on economic development side of government, and it seems like oftentimes when I would say to um, some of those who are to rep that, you know, our representatives, that we're not going to social service our way out of this mess, and if we don't begin to focus more on economic development, then we have nothing coming for
Mm-hmm.
the most part. And when I would say that, it was as if I was I'd grown a third eye or something, but you know so when I agreed to work, to take over CABA, I did ask the founder if he and the board would allow me to change the mission of the organization, because because I just couldn't do any more social service. I just couldn't do it anymore. Um, Particularly being in the Bronzeville community for over 30 years. I've been here now, I think like 32, 33, 33 years. Sonia sold me my first home in
Mm-hmm.
in Bronzeville. So so now here we are, community assets builders. We're working in collaboration with an organization called Black Researchers Collective, and they're pretty much a group, an academic group that do research in communities that are at least 75% Black. The population is at least 75% Black. So we've partnered with them in the Bronzeville area, but we're using the city's layout of communities. We're focusing on the Grand Boulevard section of Bronzeville, because Bronzeville depends on who you ask, right, Ron? The boundaries of Bronzeville depends on who you ask. So we're just focusing on the Grand Boulevard section, and coming out of economic development. um, One of the things um, that became clear to me is that as this community changes, and I know that I'm jumping all over the place, you guys, so just roll with me, because there's so much here, but but it became clear to me that, oftentimes we weren't asking the right questions. And,
Mm-hmm.
I worked in community development for a while too, before I went to work in government. And, and what I saw is that we were not asking the right questions to the community we proposed to be helping.
Right.
And so, garbage in, garbage out. And
Mm-hmm.
uh so something that I noticed is that when businesses would come into communities, um and I looked at communities all over the state of Illinois, and
Yeah.
how they decided upon who gets what tax incentives to go into different communities. But you didn't just give businesses tax incentives, but you made sure that those businesses were businesses that were truly viable, not
Yes.
just a brick and mortar that sets up, but you wanted to know how much are you paying the people that
Mm-hmm.
you're hiring and things like that. Those are the kind of things I didn't see happen in our communities.
Mm.
So um so I began to, just look around at different businesses that, set up shop, think about, well, I mean, I wonder how many, what kind of tax incentives did they get? I kind of got an idea and everything,
Mm-hmm.
but then I look at who they're employing. And
Mm-hmm.
then, there's so much noise, especially when it's a community that's been economically deprived historically, and it's just become the way of life.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so even when people refer to the community, oh, that's at low income, that's at risk and everything. I'm like, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not, I've been here 30 some years, and that's not my birthright. You
Mm-hmm.
don't get to just think it's okay to keep describing the community that I live in, that I've
Mm-hmm.
worked hard in, oh, this community is just low income, it just is. It's just not, it's not okay with me. And I
Right.
and but it's not just me, but a number of people that I've grown to know in the community that have really worked hard to make some things happen. But if you continue to call it that, that's what it's going to be, because
Mm-hmm.
the will is not there to make it anything other than that. So with this research that we're doing on bringing equity into the Grand Boulevard community, and equity is not the same as equality. You know, um, and the quick example that I like to give about what equity looks like. When a governmental agency is going to give a grant to a community for give a $250,000 grant to a community. Let's see, if you give $250,000 to Grand Boulevard, it's a different impact than what it would have if you gave that same $250,000 to Lincoln Park. Lincoln Park, that's a child's Halloween party. And Grand Boulevard, $250,000. I'm thinking about, okay, we're gonna have some roofs fixed. We're gonna have, some the facade of some buildings. We're in a different place. So what does what does what does $250,000 look like to a community that has had nothing? It's a totally different impact. So on November 15th, Community Assets Builders, that's us, and our two lead community researchers are going to be holding this town hall, whereas we're approaching the community not just asking more questions about what do you need, what do you need, what do you need. If you've been here long enough, you kind of got a pretty good idea. You may not necessarily know how to articulate it, which is why we're going to host this town hall meeting. But and why we engage not just community psychologists, but practitioners, people who live here that have lived experiences, and and we figure out how to marry all that knowledge, to the point where it makes sense to those who are supposed to carry this ball for us. And so even though we're going to ask our audience at the town hall, about what do they believe Grand Boulevard needs. But because we have so many practitioners and those who have lived experiences in the Grand Boulevard area, at the table, we're going to also be there to, what did you say, Angelesha? Communicate, which means there's an exchange in information. We're not there saying, "Oh, we're the no all, the buck stops here. We know what you need." No, we're not there to do that. But we're there to have this town hall meeting, which, again, we will communicate. We're going to show up with some, what we would suggest may be some solutions, but we're also going to be engaging in a way that we're asking, what do you think? Because that's when you're communicating, when there's an exchange. It's not all one way. So, that's our sell. Our sell is not just showing up, as the organization that knows what this community needs, but the organization that have watched long enough, that has paid, that have engaged people, that have not just talked to people in the community, but we've also talked to people in those institutions that believe they know what the community needs. For instance, I won't name it right now, but one of our advisory board members, because we have very interesting advisory board members, but one of them in particular retired from the U.S. Office of Contracts and Compliance, and because CABA is a collaborative of community psychologists. We're all over too, but we've all gotten together, because what I may know about the Grand Boulevard area, I don't know about Berwyn. But some of our community psychologists, they have some idea, and they would know how to engage that population, should it be needed. But I'm sorry. What was I gonna I lost my train of thought. Um, what was it? Cy talked about CUDS, Centralized Uniform Delivery System. And I thought it was so appropriate, and I'm going to find a way to incorporate that too, Cy. And so, because as I said, we're not pretending to know all things, but we are going to the communities, engaging the communities in a different kind of way, whereas they're giving us what we need to better help empower them. For instance, going back to one of our advisory board members, I remember sitting with them talking about a policy, because we kind of look at public policies, and in my area, my real area of expertise is identifying microaggressions that exist in public policies, practices, and procedures. And so, and I was telling them about a program that's supposed to help, communities that need it, and homeowners and things. And so the moment I explained it to him, I didn't know the impactful words to use when I described it, but I knew it was an issue. And so when I said it to him, he knew right away. He said, "Those are Jim Crow practices." I said, "Oh my gosh." He hit it right on the head. But I knew that it was just, to me, it was just like the 13th Amendment. if you don't pay close attention, you won't realize that what may sound good might work in some other communities, but it won't work here. It's, in fact, it's built to our detriment. So so community assets builders, we have surrounded ourselves with and engaged those who can see the needs that have just gone unaddressed. And not that we're set up to address everything, but I think we're equipped to at least know where to find information, what we and um not be ashamed to say we don't know. As Tina said, well, as I said to Tina, I said, when I don't understand something, I'm not afraid to say, speak to me like I'm a 5-year-old. And if I think you need to kick it up a notch or so, I'll tell you that, you know, but, and especially, sometimes when you get that PhD thing, people want to talk, over, over your head and stuff because they assume that, I don't know, you know, and so, and that's the good thing about having a PhD. I get to tell you, I don't know, you know, but, but anyway, so community assets builders, even though it was founded in the Inglewood area, when the founder, Mr. Minta, asked me to, take the organization over, and I began to look at the resources around me and the people around me, I knew that there was something much bigger that we could do that would, help communities that may not recognize what it is that they already have. And for instance, Grand Boulevard, Bronzeville has an enormous amount of assets that have not necessarily been what shall have not necessarily been embraced in the way that I believe that it could have been, should have been. But I do know that when we're inviting businesses in to set up shop, and we need to make sure that there are people that are working there that are from the area that can also afford to live in the area, because the average house now is, starts at 500,000 in the area. And and I know when I was working in government, we looked at salaries before we handed out, tax incentives in other communities. And that's the kind of thinking that I would really like to engage the community. Maybe the community doesn't think we should be considering that, but I'd like to at least introduce the idea. And I've been here long enough to know that sometimes we just need people who are not afraid to introduce the idea. They may tell me, listen, Dr. Francois, we don't need that. We don't need all that. We're just happy like we are. Okay, but I need you to tell me that, because I'm going to at least bring it to you. And that's what CABA is going to do. Just bring the information. People can let and give people the opportunity to decide for themselves. But when I look at communities that have been deprived for so long, and they become complacent, not because they want to, they just don't know. So um and that's, I mean, that's in a nutshell, that's what community assets builders does. That we're in the process of renovating our space now, um, because after I did a study abroad, uh, I did a study abroad program in Italy, and which blew my mind because it was open to the entire world. And to find myself the only one there that was from our community, I said, what the hell? You don't come this far and be afraid to ask the questions, that need to be asked. And that was around, the psychological impact on people who were oh, oh the psychological impact on economic inequality. So these things are being studied, all over the world. But what I learned, which is why I'm not afraid to engage in conversations, what I learned in that conversation is that people can have especially in academia, can have these research questions out there and study, but people operate from their own frame of reference. And I had never been in a room before where you talked about economic inequality and the word and race never entered that conversation. And that just really blew my mind that can even happen. So I figured, if I've come this far, and we were at the University of Padua, where Galileo studied everything, and I said, well, I didn't come this far to be quiet. You know, I need to know how can people have a conversation about economic inequality, and race never enters that the discussion. When I when I decided, okay, we can't keep playing this game. Like, not like that, but I did say I can't, in good conscience, I can't go into breakout rooms and workshops and not at least ask why it is that conversations like this can be had, and you never talk about race. You could see the discomfort on a few faces initially. So, but it was the ice that needed to be broken. And so, um, in just that alone, like when I came back, I knew that that was part of what CABA was about. You introduce the conversation, even if nobody has never talked about it. Open up the discussion. You know, uh, uh, el- ele- you either introduce it or you elevate it. If it's ever been talked about before, it's always been at such a low level. You know, we need to make it part of the norm. And so, our community psychologists that we work with, we're of all different races, ethnicities, um, religions, and because we all come from different communities. So, um, let's see, what else I wanted. Oh, and I'm also a mediator, certified mediator, because I think oftentimes in our communities, um, we read it. This is litigious uh, nation, but there's a lot of things that can be resolved with mediation, because when things by the time things reach the court system, it takes on a whole life of its own. And I would like to believe that many of us would rather do what we can to preserve relationships, because we all have to live with one another in some form or fashion. And mediation is a good way of making this happen. And I was sitting with a gentleman one day at a community meeting, and he was I think the director of he he worked for CPD, and he was a director of community relations or something like that. And one of our community members in the Grand Boulevard area was with me, and he started asking me what made me become a community psychologist. It was funny because the woman who was with me, she said, Dr. Francois was a community psychologist long before she became a community psychologist. And I just kind of laughed about it because, you know, I've been engaged for a long time, with things that's happening. I don't just go and exist in the community. I live in it. That's why I know Cy. I know Jamaica. I know, I know Sonia. I know Ron Carter. I know these folks, even if I haven't seen them in 15, 20 years, I know who they are, because I know the community. But even more importantly, the community also knows me. So, um, anyway, I just put some information in there about Community Assets Builders Association. As I said, we're in the process of renovating the building, which is our building space, and we have a um, in this space we will have a chef, a professional chef on site who does workshops called culinary therapy. Um, Whereas, she invites, I think, about 10 people at a time, into the space, and she prepares a whole meal because she believes that people do better when they're breaking bread, together. So that's just one of the other things with culinary therapy. And I think I mentioned also that we have two lead community researchers, which is Letitia Body and Vita Francois. Um, what are some of the other things? I don't know. I'm just that's probably more than 10 minutes too. Sorry. I can't hear you, Sonia. I see your mouth moving.
And fan right, but we're running a little bit over, and that happens sometimes. So, but we do the best that we can. And I wanted to let all of you know too that we get clips from all of these presentations, and we post them afterwards. So the whole video will be out there, but people don't want to see the whole video. So we do clips from the video. We take parts of it, and we'll post that on social media. I see Sai is back. Yes, we do. We do run a little bit over because we have a few things. Did you post your town hall meeting in the chat room?
Oh, you know what? Thank you. I meant to put the address where the town hall is going to be too.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm. Is that
I,
your first? Is that your first one?
yes, because once we do this one, because we're working with Black Researchers Collective, the way we're laying this out, we would hope that it could be replicated in other communities that's been, disenfranchised for so long,
Okay.
but that's yeah, this will be our first one. And
Okay.
hopefully, maybe, later we could do it with, with Psy. Oh, okay. Vita put the information up there. The Grand Boulevard Town Hall at Omega. It's there. Oh,
Okay.
thank you. Oh, Vita, would you put in there that it is part of Community Assets Builders Association too? That the town hall is being done under Community Assets Builders. So, we were able to get a church to work with us, and 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 they'll be reaching out to other churches, trying to get their congregation to participate. Miss Bodie, she's a teacher in CPS, so she has access to, parents, and getting parents out to the town hall. You know, we don't proclaim to know everything, but we will do our due diligence to get people out to tell us what it is that we don't know.
Davida, we're creators. Some people sit back and watch, but we step out. So it's your first time. So you could it's by doing, it's gonna tell you what
Hmm.
didn't work, and it's gonna
Hmm.
tell you what did work.
Hmm.
And there's no other way for it to happen. There's just no other way. You could replicate, I go in AI to give me what I'm having this event, what should I do? But you can read about it all day, but it's not real until you do it.
That's right.
And then you definitely know. And I'm always nervous about everything I do, no, no matter
But you
what
do
it
it.
is, because that's me, and I have to do
Mhm.
it. I have to do it. I've talked, to people. You got to bring it into this realm. You got to bring it
That's right.
into this space. If you
Mhm.
keep it up here in your head, it's not real. I mean, it's
Mhm.
real, but it's not the same thing. Like they say, thoughts are real. Thoughts have matter. Thoughts are. Uh, we still don't know where they come from, but they're not here with us until you do it.
Mhm.
Like Angelesha said, you have to write it down on paper. If you write it down on paper, yes, it is real,
Mhm.
but and you brought it into this realm. But if you don't do anything with that, then it's just words on a piece of paper.
That's right.
And I use that a lot. And I have like 1,000 million pieces of paper around me because I'm just always writing something, always thinking something. I don't practice any religion, but I like Nuri Muhammad.
Mhm.
Uh, and he doesn't speak as much anymore. I guess he said he already did all that
I get
talking.
it because
He's somewhere doing something, you
because
know.
even I'm trying to move past talking a lot, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always looking for my successor because
Mm-hmm.
and the reason I try to avoid talking a lot is because I'm finding myself saying some of the things at 65 that I said at 35. And that to me makes me come off a little,
It's crazy, ain't it?
yeah, and a little, maybe to some people a little angry because I am angry. I don't like still having to, no, we need to kick this up several notches because that means there's been no progress. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to, engage like my league community researchers. They're much younger. They don't have the kind of pissed offness, if there's such a thing, inside of them, that I
Uh-huh.
that I did. They know how to bring it down a few notches, but still deliver the same message,
I
you
got
know,
you.
and stuff. So I'm always looking for my successor, who's, when I'm just ready to kind of step away, because I don't like talking a lot. I'd like for people to look up and see that I've done what I said I was going to do. I didn't necessarily say it to you, but I said to myself, this is what needs to happen, you know.
Okay.
Um, and so yeah, I'm not that much of a talker. So you got me talking, Sonia, but
Well, we can't tell you not a talker because
oh no,
and then we talked for 2 hours. What you said, 40 minutes last night. So I can't. We was a talking. So no, I can't tell you not a talker.
well, you
Thank.
sold me my first house over 30 some years ago. So
I
we got
didn't realize
30
it was that long until now. I didn't
1990
realize.
1993.
Wow, my goodness, that's a
Yep.
long time. Ron
It
Carter,
was this time, 1993.
was it?
I closed in November 1993.
Wow. Thank you, Deveda. Thank you, Dr. Francois, for being with us. Ron Carter, I made you last because I didn't think you were coming anyway. But I thank you
Yes,
for
sir.
being here to the end. And I want to open the door for you to share, have an opportunity to share. And yes, people, we are going, we're a little bit over time. So, Ron Carter is the publisher and editor of Chicago Street Journal. The Chicago Street Journal, formerly South Street Journal, is a community newspaper. Let me get my notes. Rooted in Chicago's Black neighborhoods, serving as a bold voice on local issues since its founding in 1993. Originally created by residents of a Chicago Housing Authority project, the paper began by highlighting the daily realities and struggles of public housing communities. Over time, it expanded its scope to cover politics, community institutions, youth development, and broader neighborhood news across the city. Ron has worn many hats over the years, but I'll let him tell you what he wishes. Columbia University has actually archived the newspaper spanning 1993 to 2006 as part of the Welcome to Southside Chicago archive, ensuring its contributions remain a resource for research and history. Now, AI wrote that. Boy, AI is something else. Ron Card, I want to turn the floor over to you.
Well, thank you, Sonia, and to the participants here. It's my pleasure of being here. Yes, I did question Sonia earlier when I looked at the participants of the panel, say, why do we have all this variety of different subjects? And she said, you'll learn something, and in which I did. But at the same time in learning, I do have interest in each participant. Naturally, Saran and I have did some work together. And Deveda, we have been in connection for a long time. And so the rest, I have learned, even the Miss Jones, when she came out talking about sales, it brought me back when I was a paper boy, and had no idea that being a paper boy would lead me to being a newspaper publisher. But prior to that, I was a community organizer from Roseland to public housing. And when I got tired of organizing, but I knew the importance of it, a minister I consulted with on what I was going to do with my life, whether it was going to be organizing or in the newspaper business, he said, if you want to have some influence, if you want to have a greater impact, go with that newspaper. You'll have more leverage than just being an organizer. So that's what I did. And then it was Truth News, it was South Street Journal, now it's Chicago Street Journal. And with that, it has been more of an organizing tool. And we all know what's happening with the media nowadays, as far as our dear president and how he's attacking the media. And with the newspaper business, it's more of a saying, because of the internet, is that newspapers are like dinosaurs on a Titanic. And even with that in mind, I would look at Chicago Street Journal as a little dinosaur that can fit on a lifeboat and they float. You don't have to necessarily drown. But I do want to reflect on some time ago, maybe about the year 2000 or so, when President then Bill Clinton was running for president against Bush or someone. And there was a boycott against the Chicago Sun-Times for endorsing the Republican candidate. And so that community got pissed off and boycotted the Sun-Times. But I've seen that the Tribune endorsed the Republican candidate as well for president. And so I called up the Tribune and I asked them, why are Black folks boycotting you? And their position was, the Black community know who we are. We have been Republicans since the beginning of time. And it's Black folks that change, not us. And so they know they'll waste their time boycotting us. What that told me was that every media have an agenda. And every media have a purpose of why existence. Yes, we are to be objective. Yes, we are to be true to truth. But there's also three truths. There's the truth of each subject, and then there's actual truth. So the media has become a tool. And even when we look at today's media, blitz of the internet, of the Zoom, of the uh, of Trump going after talk shows, that the media is definitely a tool in how we're going to use it. And that's what I have been doing, even with getting the newspaper involved in activism, from being involved in the Bronzeville campaign. From, before that, it was just known as Grand Boulevard. And then it turned into Bronzeville, even though it was Bronzeville in the 40s and the 30s, but it was resurfaced to the noble person of led by Harold Lucas. And you can get tired of the media, you can get tired of the organizing and trying to stay focused. It's going back to our lady that talked about retirement, because being an organizer is not always a retirement plan. It's not always your future. You're focusing on the present of organizing the community, and that is the main goal of the newspaper. So there is a broad agenda that the media will always have, how we use it, how we take it to be a organizing tool, whether it is Channel 7, Channel 11, Fox News, or whoever it may be. There's always an agenda, and sometimes that agenda have to be hidden from your objective style of reporting. And even if you see the news today, they give comments of they report the news and they may make a statement saying, "Oh, I'm sorry that happened." That's not being objective. You don't supposed to be sorry if you're going to be objective. You just write the news and you report on it. So, and with that, in our interest of the news, we formed the Black Wall Street Chicago. And it was a self-interest in forming Black Wall Street, because if we don't have a business base, then my newspaper cannot be nurtured. If I have to depend on other folks that I'm talking about, if I'm gonna talk about economic development and address the issues of what's not happening with the redlining and things of that nature, why should those people that's doing the red line advertise in my newspaper if I'm going to beat them up? So it's a matter of what I need to do is to form an organization that will support the foundation of the newspaper of Black businesses. So it goes on to that economic agenda, and it goes on to the point of where we are now, is forming a relationship with Dearborn Homes, and creating a grocery store for them. It's now forming a relationship using the newspaper as an organizing tool for 75th Street, Black Wall Street district. So, and it's no different than any media. It's just a matter of sometimes media are quiet about what they actually do. So really, that's the synopsis of Chicago Street Journal and myself as it relates to the media. Is that, how's that, Sonia?
That's fine, Mr. Carter. Thank you. I was listening to you. Well, I'm listening to everybody. I know what you mean about the media, each media outlet having their own objective. You know, the Associated Press sends me emails every day. I mostly don't open them up. It's real. I don't know if they maybe they've always been like that. You know better than I do. It's real soft news. They're gonna report it, but they're not gonna offend anybody. You see what I'm saying? As opposed to when Jimmy Kimmel up there, he offended whoever the hell he felt like offended. okay, which got him in a lot of trouble, but then he got out the trouble, you know. So, like the onion can be offensive as hell. I'm gonna watch the video on YouTube with the onion because it's on the Epstein files, and it started off insulting. Okay, so maybe they have some funding somewhere that they don't mind, and they could do that. Okay, um, and so we have the objective,
But
I guess, Brian,
yeah,
depends on where the money coming from. You
well,
could be
again,
badass if you got the backers got some money for you, but you can't be badass if that funder not gonna give you any money.
well, that's the difference with somewhat the black media and non-black media. Is that, even in the beginning, when the first, I think it was the Star, I think Frederick Douglass, when he first came out with the newspaper, uh, it was the purpose of organizing the people. That was its initial purpose. It wasn't about making money, and not even the Star, but most, go back to the beginning of time. The newspaper's purpose were information, information, and not money. Now, yes, today, just like most newspapers are out of business because of money, mainly because of the changing of technology that took over. But even prior to that, uh, money did influence the news, but it did not influence my direction. That's why we didn't have that much money because we did not. I have heard major developers, politicians come to me directly and say, let those other newspapers cover that news. You cover the Boy Scouts and the good news. Let those other newspapers do that. And we have actually came out, in the newspaper, called certain people so-called Uncle Toms. But we realized in interviewing those people that we call Uncle Toms, such as John Stroger and my mentor, John Sinstack, and Jerry Butler. Uh, who else was it? Eugene Stroger. And there's a difference between being an Uncle Tom and being a Sambo. And those guys that we had to report that they were Uncle Toms and not Sambos, because John Stroger said, you can call me Uncle Tom all you want. Nobody has produced more jobs in the black community than John Stroger. So call me Uncle Tom. I know what I did. So it's a thin line sometimes how we report that news and the sensitivity of the black media that we have to be sensitive. Like the Chicago Defender was once called the offender by Lou Palmer. And he called the Defender the old because John, since that, when I worked for the Chicago Defender, he had no problem saying that Richard Daly tell him what to do. I was surprised. So I asked John Sinstack, I said, why aren't you bothered by people calling you Uncle Tom? And he said, because in the beginning, the Chicago Defender fought all the battles for the black community. And they fought those battles to the point of bringing money into those organizations, the Urban League, Operation Push, and so on, NWCP. And when they got this money from corporations, they did not direct those corporations to put money back into the Chicago Defender. So Johnson said, F them. I don't care. I pay my staff, I get my paper printed, and that's my goal. And I'm getting ready to retire. So yeah, there's a sensitivity, but more responsibility to that sensitivity with the press and giving even more in this day with this present president.
I got you. I got you. And we were talking about Roland Martin yesterday. What's the name? Roland Martin yesterday.
Yeah.
And he was, I didn't know.
Fire breathing.
Is that what the word is? I told Deveda, Ron disappeared somewhere. Where you at, Ron? Ron? Oh, yeah, he disappeared somewhere.
I lose single every now and then. Okay, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Oh, you over there somewhere. So we talking about Roland Martin yesterday, and why Kamala Harris was running. He was Kamala. Oh, he was working his little heart out, You know, he called himself a black media company, and so he's raising this money for the Democrats. It ain't Kamala's money. She might get some of it. But he's raising this money for the rich white Democrats. All of that money. Black people ain't never in one night raised 1 point whatever million, 2 point whatever million. All they was working. Black people just working. And I tell anybody, they have never in their life, they sorors, they fraternities, whatever they are, in their life, got together and raised 100,000 for a black cause. Talk about 1 point something million, 2 point something million. Never in the history of any of them have they got together in one day and raised any money for black economics. But they were so happy and so proud of themselves. Kamala. This is this my political Kamala, whatever the hell her name is. And so never have they done that, but they did it for the rich white Democrats, and it's shameful. It's absolutely shameful. But they so proud of themselves. And I'm gonna put this clip out there too. Now, when it was all said and done, Roland Martin said, "Ron, where you at now?" When it was all said and done, Roland Martin said that he only got $300,000 from her campaign. All of that work for $300,000. They treated him like a boy. Also, he said they did not pay him for his YouTube contributions. They went to a YouTube agency, paid the agencies, and let the agency distribute their money, their media money, to who they wanted to. Did you hear what I said, Ron?
No, I came back. I lost the signal, but I'm back now.
That's okay. I said all of that Kamala, Roland Martin only got $300,000 out of all of that, which is nothing. All of that Kamala.
You said
he only got $300,000. All of what he did. That's nothing. That's nothing. That's what he got.
That's nothing. Well, it's you know, the black media. The black media has always had that problem with the candidates. Naturally, they looking at the demographics of Roland Martin's base. You know, that's the first thing they look at. So I think that when Barack Obama, when he first ran for president, Chicago Street Journal, and I don't know if you remember that, I don't know if you was at the office then, that we was the only newspaper that got an ad from Barack Obama in Chicago. And our circulation wasn't not as great as those other newspapers. So that was more like a relationship that Barack Obama had with Chicago Street Journal, that they decided not to advertise in any other newspaper. So Roland Martin is got $300,000. Is that good or bad? Is that his market? Is it the demographics of what they're trying to hit? I mean, if I would have got 3,000, I would have
put it like that if you want to. I don't think $300,000 is a lot. She raised a lot of money and she paid a lot of money for media. I understand what you're saying about the demographics and what his outreach is now. And he feels like they shadow banning him now anyway, because his market has gone down. But
Actually, Roy Martin is the one that degraded the Chicago Fender. I mean, if you want to talk about Roy Martin, you know.
say that again. I
and
can't hear you. You broke up. Say that again.
Roy Martin is the reason the Chicago Defender went down as it did.
Roland Martin is the reason that the Chicago Fender went down as it did. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Okay.
talking about I literally I am supportive of what Mr. Roy Martin has said politically.
Well, you break it up too much. We can't understand you. We can't understand you. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. But that's what he got, $300,000. And how much did Black media get? He was hot. He was hot on that too. He was hot about that. He was hot about not Black media not getting that money, and Black people tripping over themselves to get them some money. But I think that's my only political statement for tonight, people. I think we've met here long enough, and I'm gonna have to be careful. Woo! I always put 8:30 on there anyway, but I always put 8:30 on there anyway. But it's not my intention to go that long. But I got some good clips. I got some good information, and I'm happy that
Okay,
you
I
are.
went out again.
So you back again?
Yeah. No, but I didn't get none of Kamala Harris money, so Roland Martin ought to be happy.
Oh, he ought to be happy with that 300,000.
Right, I didn't get none.
Pooh, pooh. But I want to thank everyone for being here and those of you who stayed to the end. I know it has been a long night, and I appreciate all of you. I really do. I really do. Tina, thank you. Ron, thank you. Dr. Francois, thank you. Thank you, Jackie.
I appreciate you, Sonia.
I appreciate you, Tina. You know I do. Thank you, everyone. And have what you
A
got? Another
question for
word to say,
Deveda.
Ron?
Deveda, can you give me a call?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I'm doing something in Douglas. I know that's not Grand Boulevard,
It's
but
close
I would like
enough.
to touch base with you.
It's close enough.
Okay, great.
Actually, we
Peace out,
did a video.
everybody.
Bye, Tina. Thank you so much.
See you, Sonia.
Actually,
Thank you.
we
Thank you
did a
so much.
video, and we had Paula Robinson to do it, so that to include Bronzeville, all of Bronzeville, even though this is just focusing on Grand Boulevard, but basically our work impacts all of Bronzeville. So yes, definitely.
Deveda
Okay,
and Ron, just stay a few more minutes. I got someone on here named Vita who's been on here all night. I want to ask her, did she want to share something with us? Did you want to share something about your business with us? Vita? She might be asleep now.
She's one of my lead research community researchers.
Ah, okay. She's been sitting there quietly for 2.5 hours.
Well, she's the one that put the information in there for CABA on the town
Oh,
hall.
is she?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Because I can't talk and chew gum at the same time, so she handled that for me.
I got you. D Ford. Who are you, D Ford? You want to say a word or two? He just came in. I guess he doesn't, but that's all right. Thank you all very much. I'm going to rest.
okay, pass my number on to Deveda, will you?
Yes, I will, Ron. I certainly
Okay.
will. And I want to thank you for showing up. I appreciate you.
Yeah, you talked about me on the side. That's all right.
I did talk about you, and it's
You feel
okay
good.
then. Talk to you guys
Okay.
later. Thank you so much for being longtime friends. You my buddies. You my buddies.
Thank you. My brother-in-law just passed, and I was telling my sister, I said, Sonia asked me to do this, and I said, I can't turn Sonia down. So,
Wonderful. I know who I can count on. I ain't gonna say nothing about Ron. I know who I can count on.
You
Thank
know
you,
I'm your
people. And
man.
good night.
You know I'm your man. Don't even try it.
You my man. I love you, Ron. You know I do.
Right.
Thank you, people, and good night.
Okay, good night. Thank you,
Good
Sonia,
night,
for
y'all.
remembering me.
Okay.